What's up, math scholars? Mrs. Harp here, and I'm going to teach you 8-5, the old-fashioned factoring technique. It's one of my favorites. You are in for a treat. Make sure you hit like and not dislike, and leave me a comment. I haven't even actually gotten one comment yet on a video, and that makes me a little bit sad. So, everybody's pretty excited. It's Wednesday. Who's excited to learn about the old-fashioned factoring technique? Yeah! Let's start with a fun little brainstorm activity. We are going to try to think of two numbers that multiply to 20 that add up to 9. And if you figure it out, just put your hand in the air, because I want to wait till I see every hand in the air. Because being able to do little brainstorms like this is the key to being able to do the old-fashioned factoring technique. I'm still not seeing every hand. So if you want a technique I use, I make a brainstorm list. I make a brainstorming list with the 20, the number I'm trying to multiply to get. And so here's how my list goes. 1 times 20 equals 20. 2 times 10 equals 20. And 4 times 5 equals 20. And I make a complete list of every pair of numbers that would multiply to 20. And I look down my list for the pair that adds up to 9. So which one do you guys want to select? The 4 and 5. Make sense? Nod if that makes sense. Okay, let's try another one. They get harder when negatives are introduced. So they're still all positives here. Think of two numbers that multiply to 12 that add up to 8. And just put your hand in there when you figure it out. So if you're having trouble, I can even still working. Make yourself a list. 1 and 12 multiplies to 12. 6 and 2 multiplies to 12. 3 and 4 multiplies to 12. Do you see the magical combination that adds up to 8? 6 and 2. Awesome. Great. Let's try our next one. Think of numbers that multiply to a negative 12 that add up to negative 1. It's going to be a little more difficult. One number needs to be a positive and one number needs to be a negative in order for us to multiply to a negative. Just put your hand in there when you think of it. Start making my list for people that are stuck. I think Brooke was making her list on her desk in invisible finger ink. She was just drawing on her desk like this. That works. Whatever works. This is a little bit longer of a list because of the whole where's the negative gonna go thing. Do you happen to see the pair that works? Which one is it? Yeah. Right. 3 and negative 4 would multiply to negative 12 and add up to negative 1. Okay. Let's try this one. We're going to have to multiply to a positive, but add up to a negative. Tricky. Just put your hand in there when you figure it out. All right, Sydney, what'd you go with? She's right. They both have to be negative. When you want to multiply to get a positive and add to get a negative, they both have to be negative. So great job. All right, so you're probably wondering, why are we doing this little brainstorm activity? Well, what we're going to be doing today is getting an answer to a foiling problem and trying to work backwards and figure out what the original foiling problem was. So just for fun, I'm going to foil this with you guys to review foil real quick and then talk about how we would work our way backwards, okay? So do you remember foiling? Rainbows? Some like boxes, some like rainbows. We'll just do rainbows to save time right now. What is x times x? What is x times 6? What is 2 times x? And what is 2 times 6? Now, when we did FOIL, we would always take our middle like terms and add them together. Make sure when you're adding them together, you're keeping it just an x. You're not creating an x squared there. Okay, so what's going to basically be happening today is you're going to be given x squared plus 8x plus 12 and asked to figure out where it came from, what the foiling problem looked like. So I'm going to give you a technique to use. What you're going to do is just a little brainstorming game. You're going to brainstorm numbers that multiply together to get 12. 12 and 1, 6 and 2, 3 and 4. And you're going to want to select the two numbers that, in addition to being multiplied to 12, will add up to 8. So you know what 2 it is? 6 and 2. That makes sense? So that's the strategy we're going to use. Let's look at a problem then. So here's our first example. Maybe write down what you see in purple. This is what I call a double positive example. Both the numbers are positive, so the numbers we're going to be wanting to work with are both be positive. There's 4 different cases we'll look at. This is a double positive. All right, so we play our little brainstorming game. Our final answer will be basically the product of two binomials. You'll have an x in both binomials. And in this case, you'll have a positive number in both binomials. And to figure out what those positive numbers are, you're going to start by thinking of ways you can multiply to get 35. 35 and 1, 7 and 5. I think that's pretty much it for combinations of numbers. Now, which of the combinations of numbers I just listed out would add up to 12? 7 and 5. And so you arrange it. You can put the 5 first, the 7 first, doesn't matter. But one of your binomials needs to be x plus 7, and one of your binomials needs to be x plus 5. Now, how could you check to make sure you got it right? Just FOIL it out, yeah. FOIL it out with the rainbows, or draw yourself a 2x2 box and work it out and make sure it FOILs out correctly. Well, we got it right. Good job. You did your first factoring problem. That's exciting. Let's try the second scenario. This is the negative positive scenario. This is actually the hardest scenario that there is. Let's play our little brainstorming game. We're brainstorming ways we can multiply to get 16. 16 and 1, 8 and 2, 4 times 4. So of those combinations, how in the world could we add numbers together to get a negative 10? Anybody know? Brooke? You're close. We actually want to make both negative, right? So when I was doing my brainstorm list, like 1 and 16, I should have actually put on my list negative 1 and negative 16. And 8 and 2, negative 8 and negative 2. And that's our winner. A negative 8 with a negative 2 would allow us to multiply to get a positive and add up to get a negative. That's what makes these scenarios tricky. You have to multiply to get that positive. Let's try our third scenario. This time it's a double negative scenario, but that does not mean you're going to have a negative double negative down below, so be careful on that. We're going to be brainstorming ways to get a negative 24. I'm going to go ahead and make a list. A lot of you are going to be able to figure these out without making a list, but some of you may need a list. I'm going to encourage lists. To get a negative 24, we can go with 1 and negative 24. We go with negative 1 and positive 24. Go with positive 2, negative 12. Negative 2, positive 12. Negative 6 and 4. Vice versa. Gosh, I haven't even done 3 and 8 yet. 3 and 8. Is that all the combinations that work? I think so. That's a long list. Do you happen to know which one we should select? Yeah. The 3 and 8. Good. The positive 3 and the negative 8 would multiply correctly and would add up to a negative 5. Hey, put your hand up if you figure that out without making a huge, huge, long list. A+. So don't feel the need. I'm not forcing you to make the list. I'm just showing you that making the list could help people that are stuck and can't figure it out otherwise. And then the final and fourth scenario, we got a positive in the middle and a negative at the end. So we're trying to get a negative 50 when we multiply, and trying to get a positive when we add. I'll let you just try to do this one all in your head. You can put your hand in the air when you figured out the combination of numbers. All right, here's your answer. We went with the positive 25 and the negative 2, so we could add up to the 23. All right, so for the rest of the time, I'll just pause the video when the students come up and then unpause the video to show you the answer. We're just going to try a bunch of sample problems. So let's just start with the first three over here. Alana, Luis, and Mac, you can come up to the board of your choice and try one, okay? So here's your first one. All right, there's the answer to the first one. We're getting more volunteers to do this next one. Second. So we've got P plus 2 and P plus 10. Any questions on that one? All right, let's get our next three people up for this one. So your answer is M plus 6 and M plus 8. Let's get our next three volunteers. We have a negative sign now, so that'll give them an added challenge. Look. So W minus 9 and W minus 5. And you could have them in a different order. That'd be fine. All right, next three volunteers. So we went with a negative 6 and a negative 9 so that we could add up to the negative 15, but yet multiply to get a positive. Okay. All right, next three. All right, so good job to my volunteers. They all three got it. We went from the negative 4 and a positive 6 to be able to add up to that positive 2 and multiply to the negative 24. All right, we'll go ahead and call it a day there so you can get the homework out. I was watching Ashley. She's like done already. So it goes pretty quick. Hopefully you can use the next 10 minutes to finish. And it's located on the back side of last night's worksheet. All right.